Hello, welcome to another weekly video. Today I'm going to be talking about not getting stuck where you're at. But first, I wanted to kind of give a general description of what these videos are. Again, I know I've talked a little bit about it, and I have videos of the channel description, but I was just realizing some of the things that I talk about are are kind of more in the direction of giving advice from the things that I've gone through. Um, excuse me. I've been through a lot of things as a Christian, and again, I've kind of talked about how um, when I would go to church growing up, I wanted to hear um, the pastor talk about kind of um, his or her own Christian experiences, and and I guess hearing some of their advice, things like that, and I don't think you tend to hear those kind of things. I think church just seems to center around, or pastors just seem to center around talking about things that are in the Bible sometimes, and I've heard some of them try to use some of their experiences and try to relate it to the Bible and stuff like that, but for me, it just means a whole lot more to hear what a kind of just life lessons from a Christian, their advice, and how to live life and experience things as a Christian, things like that. So, so sometimes I think my videos tend to be more about advice and um, and just experiences, but and things like that. But really, I'm just trying to present it as a Christian, I guess, and what it's like to go through these things because there just aren't a lot of people out there that will talk about that. There are a lot of people out there who are who don't say they're Christians or talk about what they've learned through God or anything like that. And that's always helpful stuff too. But I'm just trying to present things kind of like I talked about, what I would want to hear um, with the things that I've gone through. So anyway, saying that, like I said, my my video today will be about not getting stuck where you're at. I think a lot of people tend to go through things where it's so hard or so difficult that you just want to give up and kind of just stay where you're at. A lot of times I feel that kind of stuff with the things that I go through. It's not necessarily like the thing that I go through is so bad that I don't want to move on. It's more like I sometimes just feel like I've gone through so much for so long that I want to give up. I felt that the other day when I talked about when I was scammed on one of my previous videos. When I went through a scam, I didn't want to move forward anymore. I mean, you know you have to because life just goes on, but you kind of just want to you just want to just sit down and not have to do experience anything else, experience anything more. I wouldn't call it as bad as like wanting to kill yourself or anything like that, but um, you just experience this feeling of like life could be just too hard to keep going. Maybe a better example would be you'll hear people that kind of get stuck in a time period in their life, like well, this is just an example, but my sister used to joke about how my mother always had she seemed to really like the 80s time period because she had a whole lot of 80s clothes. Um, so you might find a person that's just kind of stuck in a time period that they think was the best time period. Um, I've seen a lot of people on the internet talk about the 90s, and I, of course, happened to be one of the people that thought 90s was one of the best time periods. But we can't just get stuck there. There's a lot of um, if you've ever had Sirius radio, there's a lot of stations that are I guess I love the 90s or 90s pop or 90s rock and I just don't think that God wants us to get stuck in one time period. But I've been through so many things in life that are like that. I've lived in towns that were the best experiences for me, and when I moved to a new town, it was kind of hard to just find new experiences, find new restaurants, for example. You kind of just you develop a system that you're comfortable with, and maybe that's true with certain time periods, like the 90s, for example. I mean, um, maybe it was just the best time period you had. To me, I've heard of people talk about, and I happen to agree, that 90s was the best time period for movies, for example, or like I was talking about music. That's the time period where I felt like I enjoyed music the most, and it just seemed to go downhill after that. Like I said, same with movies, but we just can't get stuck there. There's this movie that comes to mind. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called Napoleon Dynamite, and the guy in the movie, his name is Uncle Rico. The whole movie, he talks about how he could have been a football star. And every conversation, I think it's a bit exaggerated, and I think it's just supposed to be funny, but every conversation he talks about, um, do you want to see me throw this football? Or you'll see him have a camera throwing a football to the camera. Like, it's just supposed to be funny, but there are a lot of people like that. I've known a lot of people that just kind of, um, they get stuck in like I said, a time period, um, a mindset, because it was just comfortable, it's familiar, and they never seem to progress. Um, but one thing I've learned personally with God is that you have to let go of old things and try new things. You constantly have to be changing, and it is really hard sometimes to let go of the old things. For example, the last town me and my husband lived in, we found this really great Mexican place. Actually, we found a couple in different towns, but we moved to um, we moved to a new town, and we it's too far to go to the old restaurant, so we've been trying to find a new one in the town that we're in, but we had several bad experiences, and it's really hard. We happen to be really picky, so it's hard to just find the right thing that you're looking for. And it's hard to try new things. It's hard to find um, a space to be comfortable when um, when it's so hard to um, to get the comfort that you had the first time. Like it just feels like it was a miracle to even find a Mexican place that we were even okay with in our last town. It is pretty difficult to find things like that. Um, it's hard to put yourself out there to try again, to get comfortable in a new place, to get a different mindset, to try different things. Um, but you end up just holding yourself back if you get stuck in the same place. You know, holding on to things that you don't need. That's a big one too. When I was growing up, I had some really great memories with somebody I dated, and I held on to the pictures of us for a long time after we stopped dating. And one day I was like, well, I'm not dating this person. Why am I holding on to this? Like, I wanted to go back and look at the memories and think about how happy I was, um, but I just think it wasn't. it wasn't good for me to keep holding on to that and not moving forward. Moving forward is hard, and maybe I never had the same experience of being that happy again, but holding on to it was only making things worse. So we just have to let go of things. We have to move on. Um, I just think we all struggle to do that in certain areas. But anyway, that's just kind of what I was thinking about this week, and really, for myself too. I don't want to to stop trying to live life, to stop trying to move forward because it's easy to want to do that. But anyway, that's kind of where I'll leave it today. And thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.